Moana 3 is going to be the movie Moana 2 was meant to be, and that creates a huge challenge for Disney. After Disney reconfigured their approach to Moana 2 and took a different path, Moana 3 is now set to deliver the movie that the sequel was originally meant to be, but it creates one huge challenge for the studio. Disney's significant restructuring of the project led to many reviews for Moana 2 strongly criticizing the production for failing to live up to the expectations set by its predecessor. Not to mention, the exceptional success of the first Moana film established it as one of Disney's most successful franchises, which set an extremely high bar for its sequel. Moana 2 was initially set out as an exclusive series to Disney's streaming service, and it was in production alongside Moana's live-action remake, although the series was ultimately reworked for theaters. The absence of Lin-Manuel Miranda's musical contributions led to less than favorable reviews too. Yet Moana 2's box office was still incredibly successful, and the movie set the stage for a third installment in the franchise. However, Moana 3 will encounter considerable narrative hurdles in concluding the franchise, particularly given the strong desire among fans for a distinct departure from the previous film's story. Strangely enough, Moana 2 initially had very different plans following its first announcement in December 2020. With Disney Plus's launch towards the back end of 2019, Moana 2 was set to be a long-form limited series for the streaming service. During this time, the television show was being developed as Moana, the series, and was slated for development alongside the live-action Moana movie, which remains in progress. It was understandable why the IP was being adapted for the service, as Disney was heavily promoting its new streaming platform, and streaming one of its most successful IPs would have inevitably encouraged subscriptions. Disney's intention was to bring the beloved characters from the big screen and make them accessible to the streaming service in a comedy series that retained its musical features. The series was designed to pave the way for a theatrical release for Moana 2, meaning the motion picture sequel should have been the third chapter in Moana's chronicles. However, the revisions to Moana 2 meant that it was soon reworked for the big screen. Consequently, Moana 3 will now take the mantle of the last entry into its original trilogy, with the live-action remake acting as an entirely separate entity. The fact that Moana 3 will conclude the trilogy carries far greater implications for Disney than if it were simply the second part of a continuing trilogy. Of course, Moana 2 has significantly broadened the princess mythological world, meaning that Moana 3 has a huge task ahead with navigating this expanded universe, while maintaining a sense of coherence in its narrative. The added complexity makes Disney's storytelling more difficult, especially since providing a satisfying conclusion for Moana will be far more challenging now than it would have been in a second film. As it stands, Moana 3 has not received any official confirmation, although the post-credit scene in Moana 2 hints at the film's production. That being said, exploring Moana's transformation into a demigod in the next film could set the stage for a compelling conclusion in the third installment. However, the success of the third entry into the Moana franchise hinges on Disney's execution and the specific circumstances of the third film in the trilogy. As it stands, Moana 3 has not received any official confirmation, although the post-credit scene in Moana 2 hints at the film's production. Disney has a truly daunting undertaking ahead with this story, as the brief clip sets the stage for a team-up between Nello, the sequel's villain, and the eccentric crab, Tamatoa.